The catalyst of conflict. In the cold void of space, where silence reigns supreme, there existed a fragile balance between civilizations. Among them was humanity, resilient yet vulnerable, standing at the crossroads of destiny. Commander Nathan Pierce stood on the bridge of the Terran battleship Defiant, staring at the holographic display flickering before him. It showed Outpost Delta 5, once a thriving hub for scientific exploration, now reduced to ruins after a brutal surprise attack by the alien race known as the Tharkreen. The night before, Nathan had watched gut-wrenching footage from surveillance drones that captured every horrifying moment of that fateful day. He could still hear the screams echoing in his mind, the cries of his comrades, civilians caught in the crossfire, and most hauntingly, his younger brother, Dr. Alex Pierce. Alex had been working tirelessly at Delta 5 to save lives when he made his desperate last stand against overwhelming odds. Nathan remembered how his brother had shielded patients with his own body before being cut down by merciless alien fire. This memory ignited a fire within Nathan, a burning desire for vengeance that coursed through his veins like molten lava. He clenched his fists tightly as he recalled Alex's face, filled with determination even in those final moments. "Never again," he whispered under his breath, vowing to avenge not just his brother, but everyone who had suffered at the hands of these ruthless invaders. As he turned away from the display, Admiral Graves approached him with a grave expression etched across his face. "Commander," he began, "the Council has authorized our response. We're mobilizing all available forces for an immediate counteroffensive." Nathan nodded sharply, feeling a sense of purpose wash over him. "We'll make them pay for what they've done," he replied firmly. "Prepare our fleet for hyperspace, jump to Tharan Prime." Admiral Graves studied him closely before responding. "This is not just about retribution. We need to ensure that they understand this will not be tolerated again." With that thought echoing in their minds, they began coordinating their strategy. The Defiant was not just another ship. It was humanity's last line of defense against an enemy that had underestimated them time and again. Hours later, as they hurtled through hyperspace towards their target, Nathan gathered his key officers in the war room, each one handpicked for their skills and loyalty. They included Connor Hayes, a brilliant tactician, Layla Martinez, an explosives expert, and Dr. Alan Kim, whose medical expertise had saved countless lives during previous engagements. "Listen up," Nathan said as he paced before them. "The Tharkreen have shown us no mercy. We will return that favor tenfold." He paused to let his words sink in before continuing with fervor. "Our first objective is to disable their defenses using EMP drones strategically placed along their weak points." Connor leaned forward eagerly as he studied the digital map projected before them. "If we can disrupt their communication systems at these fracture points," he pointed out several locations on the map with precision, "we can blind them long enough to launch our main assault." "Exactly," Nathan affirmed with a nod. "Once we have them disoriented, we'll deploy ground troops to secure key installations." Layla chimed in with her characteristic enthusiasm. "I can rig explosives at various choke points. They won't know what hit them." Dr. Kim remained silent for a moment before speaking up cautiously. "While I understand our need for aggression, we must also consider civilian casualties if there are any remaining on Tharan Prime." Nathan met Kim's gaze steadily. He understood his concern but felt an overwhelming need for vengeance overshadowing any humanitarian considerations at this moment. "We'll do what we can to minimize civilian impact," he assured him reluctantly. "But our priority is clear. Eliminate any threat posed by these aliens." As they finalized their plans amidst murmurs of agreement and determination from his crew members, Nathan felt an electric charge in the air, a mix of fear and excitement that accompanied every impending battle. Finally ready for action, they arrived above Tharan Prime, a desolate world cloaked in icy darkness where shadows danced ominously across its surface like phantoms waiting to strike back at humanity's approach. "Deploy EMP drones," Nathan commanded as adrenaline surged through him like wildfire when they dropped into orbit around their target planet. From their vantage point aboard Defiant high above Tharan Prime's surface, steel fortresses loomed ominously below. Nathan watched as swarms of drones slipped silently into position along jagged lines etched into frozen terrain. Commence launch sequence, he ordered with iron resolve while Connor monitored data feeds flashing across multiple screens around him. The drone slipped free from Defiant's belly like silent birds weaving through shadowed cracks on the moon's surface, each one carrying humanity's wrath within its metallic shell. As darkness enveloped Tharan Prime like a shroud over its secrets, the first signs of chaos erupted below when one by one screens blinked out across alien ranks. Confusion boiled within their ranks. With a fierce resolve, Nathan signaled for the ground troops to advance. Deploy UTV ships. We're going in hot. He felt a surge of adrenaline as he led his team down to the surface, each soldier ready to face whatever horrors awaited them. As they landed amidst the wreckage of what had once been a bustling outpost, Nathan's heart raced. The air was thick with dust and smoke. Debris littered the ground like forgotten memories of lives once lived. He swept his energy rifle side to side, scanning for any signs of movement. Stay alert, he warned his squad as they fanned out across the battlefield. A flash of green caught his eye, a Tharkrian soldier attempting to flank them from behind a pile of rubble. Nathan squeezed the trigger without hesitation. The bolt struck true, sending the alien crashing to the ground. Good shot. Layla called out as she worked quickly to set traps around their perimeter. She glanced up at him with a grim smile before returning to her task, her hands moving deftly as she wired explosives into strategic locations. The Defiant hovered above them like an avenging angel, raining fire down upon enemy positions while Nathan's team engaged in close-quarters combat. The sounds of battle filled the air, shouts of rage and fear mingling with explosions that echoed across the barren landscape. Control this area. Bring down their defenses. Nathan barked into his comms as he moved forward through the chaos. His squad responded with fierce determination. They were no longer just soldiers. They were Avengers fighting for every life lost at Delta 5. But just as victory seemed within reach, an ominous shadow emerged from within one of the ruined buildings, a massive creature known as a creek. Towering over them with limbs thick as tree trunks and teeth sharp enough to rend steel, it roared defiantly into the night air. Fall back. Focus fire on that thing. Nathan commanded urgently as he watched his squad scramble for cover. The creek charged forward, shrugging off bullets and missiles like they were nothing more than raindrops. Dr. Alan Kim stood amidst twisted metal and debris. He had transitioned from healer to warrior in mere moments. I have something, he shouted over the din of battle, holding up a vial filled with a glowing green liquid, an experimental toxin designed specifically for this moment. Cover him, Nathan yelled as he rallied his team around Kim while directing fire toward the beast's exposed flanks. The creek roared in fury as it turned its attention toward them, but they pressed on undeterred. Kim dashed forward with remarkable agility, dodging falling debris and snapping jaws as he approached the monstrous creature. With one swift motion, he plunged the vial into an exposed nerve cluster on its neck. The creek let out an ear-piercing wail that echoed across the battlefield, a sound filled with pain and fury, as it thrashed violently before collapsing to the ground in a heap of scales and muscle. As silence fell over the battlefield in disbelief at their victory against such an overwhelming foe, Nathan felt a surge of hope rise within him. We did it. Keep pushing forward. But even as they celebrated this small victory, Nathan knew there was no time for complacency. The war was far from over. With renewed vigor, they pressed deeper into enemy territory until they reached what remained of Thror's command center, a fortified structure that had once been teeming with activity, but now lay in ruins. Secure this area, Nathan ordered as they burst through shattered doors into dimly lit hallways filled with smoke and debris. They encountered scattered pockets of resistance, Tharkrian soldiers desperate to defend their last stronghold, but one by one they fell before humanity's wrath. Finally reaching Thror's inner sanctum, a room filled with monitors displaying live feeds from across Tharan Prime. Nathan confronted him directly. The alien leader stood surrounded by guards who quickly fell under fire from Nathan's squad. End this madness, Nathan shouted at Thror as he aimed his weapon directly at him. Surrender now. But Thror roared defiantly back at him, a creature fueled by pride and desperation, refusing to yield even in defeat. You think you have won? This is only just beginning. In that moment, a realization struck Nathan. This conflict would not end simply because they had captured Thor. It would require more than just military might. It would take understanding and cooperation between two races torn apart by fear and hatred. As Thor was taken into custody, his fate uncertain, Nathan stepped outside onto what remained of Tharn Prime's surface, where both human blood and alien blood mingled together in stark contrast against scorched earth. He carried no weapons now, just a datapad filled with reports detailing losses suffered on both sides, a reminder that peace would not come easily nor quickly after such devastation. Turning towards his squad gathered around him, faces weary but resolute, he knew they had achieved something significant today. Not just victory over an enemy, but perhaps an opportunity for change, a chance at rebuilding what had been lost amid chaos, and forging new alliances where once there were only enemies. As night descended upon Tharn Prime, the stars twinkling overhead like distant hopes waiting patiently for dawn, Nathan felt both fear and contact, shouted Connor as he raised his weapon instinctively. Before Nathan could respond, Tharkrian soldiers poured into the corridor from all directions, blasting energy weapons that lit up the darkness like fireworks on a summer night. "Fall back! Take cover!" Nathan yelled as he ducked behind a wall just in time to avoid incoming fire. The squad quickly regrouped behind makeshift barricades as chaos erupted around them. Shouts mingled with gunfire in a cacophony of violence. "Layla, set up traps," Nathan commanded while firing back at advancing enemies. She nodded fiercely, her hands moving quickly as she rigged explosives along their perimeter while Connor provided cover fire. Dr. Kim crouched low beside Nathan, scanning their surroundings for any signs of an escape route or strategic advantage amidst the chaos. "We need to push forward," Nathan shouted over the din. "We can't let them overwhelm us." With determination fueling him, he charged forward alongside Connor and Layla, each step bringing them closer to their objective, but also deeper into danger. As they fought through waves of Tharkrian soldiers, their resolve unwavering, they finally reached what remained of Thor's command room, a space filled with flickering monitors displaying chaotic feeds from across Tharn Prime. But before they could catch their breath or assess their surroundings fully, a massive figure emerged from the shadows. Sarek Thar, the true mastermind behind this conflict, loomed before them with an air of malevolence. "Commander Pierce," he rumbled with sinister glee, "you've come to witness your own demise." Nathan's heart raced as he faced this formidable foe, the embodiment of everything he despised about this war. "You won't win," he retorted defiantly, raising his weapon. Sarek laughed, a deep rumbling sound that echoed off the walls around them. "You think you can stop me? I will reshape this galaxy in my image." With that proclamation hanging heavily in the air, chaos erupted anew as Sarek summoned his forces to attack. Tharkrian soldiers surged forward like a tide threatening to drown them all. "Fall back. Regroup," Nathan shouted desperately as he fought against overwhelming odds, his team moving fluidly despite fear clawing at their hearts. But just when it seemed all hope was lost, a blinding flash illuminated the room as an explosion rocked their surroundings. The walls shook violently underfoot while smoke billowed around them like an angry storm cloud. In that momentary chaos, the tide shifted unexpectedly. Layla's traps had worked brilliantly, taking out several enemy combatants caught unawares by her cunning strategy. "Push forward," Nathan shouted again, his voice rising above chaos, as he seized this opportunity to advance against Sarek's remaining forces while adrenaline surged through him like fire igniting dry kindling. The battle raged on fiercely. Each soldier fought valiantly for survival amidst swirling dust and debris, a testament not just to human resilience but also unity forged through shared purpose against tyranny threatening all they held dear. Finally breaking through enemy lines, they cornered Sarek within his own command room. Desperation etched across his face as he realized defeat loomed ever closer. "You may have won today," Sarek spat defiantly, but Nathan could see fear flickering behind those cold eyes, a realization dawning upon him that perhaps this time, victory would belong to humanity after all. With one final push, the squad overwhelmed Sarek's last line of defense. Nathan aimed directly at him, his weapon steady despite everything weighing heavily upon him. the burden of loss still fresh in his mind, but now mixed with hope for what lay ahead if they could end this madness once and for all. This concludes Part 3, The Turning Tide. Each subsequent part will continue exploring character development and themes of conflict resolution while delving deeper into the complexities of war and peace between humans and Tharkreen alike. Building bridges. The aftermath of the battle against Sarak Thar and the remnants of the Tharkreen forces left Commander Nathan Pierce with a heavy heart. Though they had achieved a significant victory, the cost was undeniable. The battlefield was littered with the debris of war, and the faces of both fallen humans and Tharkreen haunted his thoughts. As he surveyed the destruction, Nathan understood that simply defeating an enemy was not enough. They needed to build something new from the ashes. In the days following their hard-fought victory, Nathan convened a council with the surviving Tharkreen leaders who had stepped forward in a show of unity. They gathered in a makeshift command center, surrounded by flickering screens displaying reports of ongoing skirmishes and humanitarian needs across Tharn Prime. "Today, we stand at a crossroads," Nathan began, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "We have fought hard against our common enemies, but now we face a greater challenge, rebuilding trust between our peoples." Talar, one of the Thar commanders, nodded solemnly. "We have lost much, Commander Pierce. Our people are weary of war. We desire peace but fear that it is merely a facade." Nathan met Talar's gaze with sincerity. "I understand your fears, but we must work together to ensure that peace is not just a dream, but a reality. We need to establish joint efforts in rebuilding our worlds, medical camps, resource sharing, and community support." The room buzzed with murmurs as both humans and Tharkreen considered Nathan's words. The idea of collaboration was foreign yet tantalizing, a chance to redefine their relationship from one of enmity to partnership. "We can set up medical camps," Dr. Alan Kim interjected, stepping forward with determination. "We have human medics ready to assist your injured. Together, we can provide care for those affected by this conflict." Leila Martinez added, "And we can share technology. Our engineers can help rebuild your infrastructure while your scientists can teach us about your advancements." The Thar leaders exchanged glances, their expressions shifting from skepticism to cautious hope. Finally, Talar spoke again. "If we are to move forward, we must also honor those we have lost. A monument, a place where both our peoples can remember together." Nathan felt a surge of warmth at Talar's suggestion. "Yes, a monument to commemorate our fallen soldiers from both sides will serve as a reminder of our shared sacrifices and our commitment to peace." With plans taking shape, Nathan and Talar organized teams to begin immediate relief efforts across Tharn Prime. As they worked side by side, human medics tending to Tharkreen wounded and vice versa, Nathan witnessed something remarkable. Barriers began to crumble as empathy replaced animosity. Days turned into weeks as the medical camp flourished into a bustling hub of cooperation. Children played together while parents exchanged stories about their cultures over shared meals. The sight brought tears to Nathan's eyes. He had never imagined such unity could emerge from the ashes of war. Yet amidst this newfound harmony, shadows lingered in the corners, whispers of dissent among hardliners who refused to accept this fragile peace. Nathan knew that while they had made significant strides, true reconciliation would take time and effort. One evening, as he stood at the site where the monument would be erected, a grand pillar symbolizing hope, he felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Dr. Kim. "Commander," he said softly, "I've been analyzing reports from our scouts. There are still factions out there, groups like the Kree Hive that want to see us fail." Nathan sighed heavily. He had anticipated this news, but hoped it would remain unspoken for longer. "We need to be vigilant," he replied resolutely. "If we're going to protect what we've built here, we must be prepared for anything." As if on cue, an urgent alert blared through their comm systems, a warning that echoed across the camp like a death knell. "Commander, we're receiving reports of an ambush near the eastern supply route." Connor Hayes' voice crackled through the static. "Gather all available forces," Nathan commanded without hesitation. "We're not letting anyone tear down what we've fought so hard to build." The team sprang into action, soldiers from both races united under one banner as they prepared for what lay ahead. Nathan felt adrenaline coursing through him once more. This was not just about survival, it was about protecting their shared future. As they mobilized towards the eastern route, Nathan couldn't shake off a sense of foreboding. Every step felt like walking on thin ice, the peace they had forged hanging precariously in balance. When they arrived at the scene of the ambush, a narrow canyon flanked by rocky cliffs, they found chaos unfolding before them. Tharkrian soldiers were engaged in fierce combat against an unseen enemy. "Stay low," Nathan shouted as they took cover behind boulders while assessing the situation. Through the haze of gunfire and smoke, Nathan spotted familiar insignias. The Kree Hive had come to disrupt their fragile alliance. "Prepare for engagement," he ordered as he peered through his scope at advancing enemies who were intent on sowing discord. The battle erupted anew. Blasts echoed off canyon walls as humans and Tharkreen fought side by side against their common foe. Nathan's heart raced as he moved fluidly amidst gunfire, each shot fired not just for survival, but for everything they had built together. As chaos reigned around him, their combined efforts began turning the tide. It was clear that unity was their greatest weapon against those who sought division. But just when victory seemed within reach, a massive explosion rocked the canyon floor. Debris rained down as Nathan ducked instinctively behind cover. "Get up! We need to push forward!" Connor yelled as he rallied their troops around him. In that moment of desperation, Nathan spotted movement out of the corner of his eye. Sarek Thar stood atop a rocky outcrop, a figure cloaked in shadows, his eyes gleaming with malice as he orchestrated chaos below. "Pierce!" Sarek's voice boomed over the din. It dripped with venomous glee. "You think you can build something lasting? Look around you. This is your future." Fueled by anger at Sarek's taunts, Nathan surged forward through gunfire toward his nemesis. Every ounce of rage surged within him like fire igniting dry kindling. With each step closer, the world around him faded away until only Sarek remained in focus, this creature who had brought so much pain and suffering upon them all. "You will not destroy what we have built," Nathan shouted defiantly as he raised his weapon toward Sarek's chest. But just before he could pull the trigger, a blinding flash enveloped him, the world spinning into darkness as everything faded away. When Nathan awoke, it was not in darkness but in light. Soft rays filtered through cracks above him, illuminating faces around him, familiar faces filled with concern and relief. "Commander, you're awake!" Connor exclaimed breathlessly while Layla rushed forward holding a medical kit. "What happened?" Nathan croaked out as memories flooded back. The battle, the ambush, and then nothingness. "You took quite a hit," Dr. Kim explained gently while checking his vitals. "But you're safe now." As clarity returned, Nathan realized they were no longer in danger. They had triumphed over Sarek's forces once more, but at what cost? "I need to get back out there," he insisted, weakly trying to rise, but Connor held him down firmly yet compassionately. "Not yet," Connor said firmly but gently. "You need time to heal." And heal he did. As days passed into weeks, the alliance between humans and Tharkreen grew stronger despite challenges thrown their way by those unwilling to accept change or progress. Finally able to return to duty, Nathan stood before a gathering crowd at the newly erected monument site, a symbol not just of those lost, but also of what they could achieve together moving forward. "This monument stands here today." Nathan began addressing both humans and Tharkreen alike gathered before him, faces filled with hope despite scars left behind by conflict, not only in memory of those we lost, but also as a testament to our resilience. Cheers erupted from both sides, a sound filled with promise echoing across barren lands once stained by blood now transformed into fertile ground for growth and understanding between two races, once divided by hatred now united under one cause, peace. As celebrations continued around them, the sun dipped below horizon, casting warm hues over everything. It became clear that while challenges lay ahead, they would face them together hand in hand, forging bonds stronger than any weapon could ever break. And so began a new chapter, not just for humanity or Tharkreen, but for all those willing enough to believe that even amidst chaos there existed hope, and perhaps one day, a future worth fighting for. This concludes Part 4, Building Bridges. The story has reached its climax with themes exploring unity amidst adversity while highlighting character growth throughout this journey toward peace between humans and Darkrian alike.